The Edo State chapter of the Nigerian's leading opposition party, the People's Democratic Party (PDP), faces another internal crisis barely a year after returning to power in the state. The PDP lost the governorship seat in Edo in the state in 2008 following the declaration of Adams Oshomole of the Action Congress AC as the winner of the 2007 gubernatorial election in the state by the appellate court. He displaced the PDP's Professor Osareme Osumbo as governor. The party returned to Government House last September with the re-election victory of incumbent Governor Godwin Obaseki, who had dumped the All Progressive Congress (APC) and joined the PDP in the build-up to the 2020 gubernatorial election in the state. Obaseki's exit from the APC was occasioned by years of face-off with Oshomole, his predecessor and erstwhile political godfather and then national chairman of the ruling APC. Today, there is tension within the party as the governor and some leaders of the PDP in Edo State are engaged in a supremacy battle for the party structure. The crux of the tension, it was gathered, is a fear by legacy members of the PDP in the state that Obaseki intends to take over total control of the party he joined months prior to the 2020 governorship election in the state. But supporters of the governor say he is merely seeking the proper integration of new members into the structure of the party across the state in his bid to further strengthen the PDP. Checks by the Nation revealed that the battle for control between the groups controlled by the state governor and that backed the PDP National Vice Chairman Chief Dan Obi and other legacy leaders of the party is widening by the day. Not even interventions from the national headquarters of PDP and other stakeholders seem to be making any head impact as both sides continue to engage each other in a battle to gain an upper hand. Consequently, concerned party leaders and members are worried that the crisis may affect the party's popularity with the people of the state. One major reason the people of Edo State rejected the APC during the 2020 gubernatorial election and decided to popularly return the PDP to government with Obaseki as the candidate is the protracted crisis that rocked the former ruling party since 2016. Now the same leadership crisis is refusing to allow both the party and the governor to enjoy the hard-earned victory over APC. The people of Edo State voted for peace and they will not be happy seeing what is happening within Edo PDP today, a party source lamented. Worried by the development within the party, a former Minister of Works, Mr. Mike Onole-Meme, has called for peace among members of the party in the state while reminding members of the party that being together is always better than division, whatever the philosophy behind the current divide. Let me say that it is only peaceful coexistence and collaboration that can ensure we maintain our fortunes. We must bear in mind the issue of harmonization and integration. Whatever our persuasion would allow us, call it. It's a political endeavor that must be done. It's unfortunate that most of us don't understand the need for it. Nowhere in the world can a part of a collection grow without carrying along the other parts of the same collection. In PDP today in Edo State, we thank God for the victory of Godwin Obaseki at the 2020 gubernatorial election. The synergy that was forged among the major PDP groups was amazing. What has happened to the guiding philosophy of the collaboration that was forged among the various groups? Consequently, I implore all members of our great party to avoid any kind of rhetoric that will further disintegrate us. Peaceful and balanced coexistence is what each and every one of us must seek, and we must seek it sincerely, he said. But rather than abate, the crisis rocking PDP in Edo State escalated with the surprise suspension of Dan Obi and the Edo State Secretary of the party, Hilary Otsu, by the leaders of the party in Edo North Senatorial District. The suspension, alleged to have been instigated by Obaseki, was contained in a communique that was read by a leader of the party in the Senatorial District, Charles Erihumi, after the meeting of the leadership of the PDP in the zone last week in Auchi, Esako West Local Government Area of Edo. In addition, chairmen of 5 local government areas in Edo North were also suspended. The affected local governments were Onwa West, Onwa East, Akoko Edo, Esako Central, and Esako East, as well as the senatorial leader, Mr. Samuel Saiki. The communique noted that Obi and others were suspended because they violated the party's constitution and were also found to be involved in anti-party activities. Obi, the party leader, alleged is working against the harmonization of the party structure across the state. There was an all-important stakeholders meeting called by Governor Godwin Obaseki on October 2nd, and Obi boycotted the meeting, including the senatorial chairman and the 5 local government chairmen in Edo North. Obi also went ahead to instigate other leaders and members of the party to boycott same meeting. As leaders of the party in the zone, we view this as an act of gross misconduct and a violation of the party's constitution, and by extension, an act of anti-party activities. In view of the above, a vote of no confidence and suspension was passed on Obi, the senatorial chairman, and the 5 local government chairmen in Edo North. Iriku, he noted. However, the National Working Committee of the PDP promptly nullified Obi's suspension. In a statement by the National Publicity Secretary Kola Olugbodiyan, the party said the purported suspension of the National Vice Chairman South Chief Dan Obi, a member of the National Executive Committee (NEC) of the party by the Edo North senatorial leadership of the party, is statutorily beyond its powers, and to that effect a nullity. He said the National Working Committee assured that it is taking strong steps to ensure amicable resolution of all issues and ensure that the interests of all members in the chapter are protected. In a fresh twist to the crisis, some leaders of the PDP ratified the suspension of Obi alongside with that of the members of the House of Representatives representing Ori-Edo Federal Constituency. Honorable Omorege Igbede Ihama, State Secretary of Edo State PDP, Hilary Ostu, the PDP chairman in Ori-Edo Local Government Area, Odua Igbinoso, and the chairman of PDP in Ori-Edo Ward 4, Friday Enaruna. The party leaders who met in Benin City were selected from the 192 wards of the state. The meeting had the governor in attendance. Moving a motion for the ratification of their suspension, Mike Nosa Ihama, a chieftain of the party in Ori-Edo Local Government Area, accused them of working against the party. He was seconded by Silvanus Eraga, a leader of the party from Esako West Local Government Area. Obaseki, speaking at the meeting, said, "There are people who have continued to come and feed you with lies. That is the nature of their politics. If there is no confusion, they will not eat. I will not leave PDP. I'm the leader of PDP, and by the grace of God, I will lead PDP well. Anybody that doesn't want me to lead or want to accept my leadership will leave PDP for me. I said, come and let us harmonize, and the harmonization is to carry everybody along. We don't need to lie in politics. Politics is a game of numbers. For 1 year, I've been begging us to harmonize. We can't escape from harmonization. If we want to go for national convention, I have almost 300 to 400 political appointments I want to make. By this weekend, please complete the harmonization. I'm here to assure you that there is something for everyone that has worked for us and continue to work for us. The important thing is for us to continue to grow our party." At the root of the crisis is a move by the governor to have the leadership of the PDP in the state dissolved while a fresh Congress is held to elect new leaders. His reason for this, according to his allies, is the need for new members who join the party from the APC and other parties because of him to be comfortably accommodated within the structures of their new party. Such people will not be comfortable as ordinary members without stakes in their new party, given their positions and clout in their former parties, an aide to the governor explained. Reacting to the move, the PDP state chairman of the party, Anthony Aziegbemi, cautioned the governor and urged him to state the harmonization he seeks from within his administration. He therefore pointedly asked Obaseki to replace the deputy governor Philip Shaibu and secretary to the state government SSG Osaridon Oge with legacy PDP members as a way of ensuring that those who gave him a platform to contest when he was rejected by his former party are also comfortable within his administration. When it appeared that the governor was making progress with a push for dissolution of the state executive following feelers that he was using some prominent officials within the National Working Committee of the party to advance his cause, Aziegbemi, after an emergency and expanded state working committee meeting, where it was agreed to report the alleged plan of the governor to the national chairman, wrote a petition to the national chairman of the party accusing the governor of nursing sinister intentions. The proposed dissolution and or harmonization are designed to hold Edo people and PDP to ransom by the Obaseki-led administration. We will not accept this. Edo people voted for PDP and Godwin Obaseki to deliver the dividends of democracy to them. But if Governor Obaseki wills to conduct governance by a triumvirate of the governor, the deputy governor, and the SSG, so be it. The state PDP leaders wrote in their petition to the national chairman. What followed was the suspension of Aziyegbemi, suspended from office for illegal misconduct. Surprisingly, his suspension was announced by the spokesperson of the party in the state, Chris Nahikare. Nahikare said the suspension was based on the decision of the State Working Committee of the party. The SWC suspended the chairman for gross misconduct by brewing unnecessary tension and disunity among party members in the state. The suspension was ratified by 2/3 of the SWC members at a meeting. The state deputy chairman of the party, Harrison Omagbon, would act as the chairman pending the determination of the case, he said. The governor's camp celebrated the ouster of the state chairman while Obi and his group kicked. But barely a month later, Aziyegbemi was reinstated. The PDP in the state said the chairman, Tony Aziyegbemi, has been exonerated and acquitted of the allegations of gross misconduct made against him. The State Working Committee of the PDP in Edo, after its working committee's meeting, called to deliberate on a report of the investigative committee set up to investigate allegations of gross misconduct against Aziyegbemi, has exonerated and acquitted him. The suspension has therefore been lifted. Consequently, the chairman will resume his office with immediate effect, Nahikare said. But with the current developments in the party following the ratification of the suspension of prominent party leaders during the week, at a meeting attended by the governor, it appears the crisis may further escalate. A chieftain of the PDP and former Edo State Commissioner in Public Complaints Commission, PCC, Oladele Bankole Balogun, has called on Obaseki to save the party by reaching out to the stakeholders of the party to end the current crisis. The impasse in Edo PDP is avoidable and unacceptable. The buck stop at the top. Governor Obaseki carried the hopes and aspirations of millions of people. He has a solid pedigree, educational background, and a decent exposure to life beyond Edo State. It is therefore shocking that he has not called on these life experiences to bring about interaction and integration with the people who saved his face and the few hundreds of his supporters who joined the PDP, having been made totally ostracized and impotent by the APC. The people guarding the governor to be a hardlier, unrepentant, disrespectful of the legal course of events, and unappreciative of the people who made the PDP attractive are evil, desperate, and of the worst species of humankind. I've always maintained that considering the exceptional circumstances of the governor's rescue from shame and political oblivion by the PDP, he ought to go over and above board to ensure understanding with those who made his new platform attractive. Politics is an endless game of negotiations. Mr. Governor needs to get back to the round table with genuine stakeholders who stood in the gap during the days of famine, not opportunistic pointers and fair weather leaders. It is not too late for this governor to be overcome by the Holy Spirit to do the right thing. The tough man is the one who realizes he has gone on a frolic of his own and retraces his step, Bankole Balogun admonished.